Yep, I made 136 grand before I graduated high school simply by posting beats on YouTube. And what I'm going to show you in today's video is how I did it and also how you can do it as well, right? How you can even get better results than I got. Simply by following and learning from my mistakes. That way you don't make the same mistakes, and that way you can get the same results, if not better, way faster than I got them. So to begin, this is one of my type beat channels that well, basically I ran all throughout high school. I'm 18 now, and I just graduated high school. But as you can see, in the first year of me starting this channel, I made $17,500 just in YouTube ad revenue alone, and I gained 13,000 subscribers, 146,000 watch hours, and 6 million views. So obviously, I definitely got monetized because you only need 4,000 watch hours, and we did a lot more than that. But as you can see, in the first 6 months of the year, I had like a big spike here, but then it calmed down more throughout later in the year, like a month after that big spike. And the reasoning behind this is I didn't have a clear strategy yet. Okay, I was already switching keywords and I was just kind of all over the place. But it wasn't until I'd say right halfway through the year where I could definitely dialed in more of a strategy. And I'm going to talk more about this in just a second, but I definitely dialed in more of a strategy, and clearly the views started going in, right? Started going up. And so obviously the views started going like this, and leading into 2023, it looked very promising, right? $17,000. A majority of this was made in the second half of the year. And yeah, so when we look at the next year, which was 2023, we made $31,929. And I was a junior in high school at this time. Okay. So this was good money. And this isn't even including the sales. I'll show the sales in just a second. But this was all, when I made this $17,500, I was a sophomore in high school. Okay. And I started this halfway through my sophomore year. So you can kind of understand, like, this wasn't all throughout high school. This was almost just 2 years of high school, right? And so I've really only been doing this like 2 or 3 years. And yeah, so I started this channel. I was 15 years old. Then I'm 16 years old at this point. Made 31,000. Grew the channel by a lot, but the majority of the money was definitely made in the first half of this year when I was going crazy. As you can see, tons of revenue here. These are just individual days, as you can see. It's crazy. And I'm just showing you the results before I go into more of the technical nerdy shit. But yeah, as you can see, this was definitely a great start to the year. And what's crazy too is in the beginning of the year, the first 3 months of the year, the YouTube RPMs are way lower. But I was just getting so many views that I was just printing like crazy. And this isn't even including the sales yet. But yeah, I doubled the watch hours, doubled the views the next year, and doubled the revenue. So very good. And then in 2024, we had another successful year. As you can see, this was my senior year of high school, made $21,192. And in the last video, I covered how I did this completely on autopilot, really, just by hiring a team and scaling it. And so we had the crazy thing is it's saying down in views, even though I still got 9 million views and made 21 grand off YouTube revenue. And that was, let's see, 5 grand more than this year. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good year. And the thing is, with this year, we changed our strategy a bit, started changing up the keywords and dominating other keywords, which is how we were expanding, because I realized the niche I was going for started declining. So I strategized, made a new plan, targeted a new keyword, because I realized my channel was big enough to where I could kind of go after any smaller niche that I wanted. I definitely couldn't just start doing Lil Baby and blow up on it, but any new up and coming artists I can see, I definitely can start dominating on it. And that's exactly what I did during the summer with Rack Baby type beats, right? I was one of the first people that ever start making his type of beats, especially with the samples and all that. You guys, if you're a YouTube producer, you might have seen the beats up there. And you might have seen a lot of my beats actually go viral. But anyway, another good year here. And the reason why I'm showing this is to show you that it's one thing to have maybe a good week where you blow up like crazy, and that might happen. You might get a spike like this, but it's another thing. Usually producers always start to trickle off, right? They can't keep that same consistency. But if you're able to do this and suddenly revive your channel, you're gonna have a channel that hits 100,000 subscribers. Like this channel will definitely hit 100K in the next year or two, just because year after year, as you can see, I'm keeping that consistency. I'm definitely consistent with just constantly bringing in views. And right now my views are actually low. Like you might think, oh, 30,000 in the last 48 hours, that's really good. That's really low actually for this channel. It's definitely on the lower end. So I'm working to re-strategize and get that back up. Definitely will this year. What I've noticed is that samples are really just all of a sudden we're in a sample era right now. Every 3 or 4 years we start going back to the sample era. And what I call it the sample era because it's basically when the videos that are blowing up like crazy are with samples, right? That's just how it is. And then maybe a year or two later, it's all of a sudden freestyle beats are crazy. They always are, but or it's who shiesty, like it varies. But right now, anything sample will blow up right now. So that's a gem for you, something to consider. So I'm switching all my type beats on this channel to everything samples. I'm not dropping a single beat that doesn't have a sample right now. And you might be like, okay, how do you do that and then still get YouTube revenue? Well, there's ways that you can do it, right? You could sample covers of songs that kind of sound more identical to the actual song, or you could just sample certain parts of like the instrumental, and sometimes you can get away with it. It's not guaranteed that you won't get copyright strike, but sometimes you can get away with it. But yeah, so my point is, here are my results, in case you think I'm bullshitting. The proof is here. Here are the sales from the last like year and a half, I'd say. But, essentially when I first started this channel, right, I was getting sales before this channel, but I definitely got the most sales from when I started this channel. So that's 65 grand in net profit, 83 grand gross. And this is just BeatStars. The thing is, I got like 30 or 40 grand in individual sales, which is insane, off of just Cash App, Venmo. The thing is, when you start blowing up your YouTube and you have your Instagram, some people don't always go to the purchase link. So they'll DM you on Instagram and be like, hey, can I get this beat? Can you throw me a discount? And these are digital products, so I have no problem with giving them a 20% discount if it means I'm gonna get the sale, right? So it's not like it costs me anything, I only profit. Even if I sold it for $1, I still profit. So anyway, I don't recommend selling your beats for $1, but I'm just saying as an example. Anyway, yeah, so I made about 30 or 40, I'd say, let's just say 30 grand on the lower end, just to be conservative, just through individual sales. And I actually made 5 grand in one day off of exclusive sales, which is from someone who came from my YouTube. And I've gotten a Lil TJ placement. I'll show you that. I got a Lil TJ placement here. The song is at almost 12 million streams. And as you can see, Diego Torres, I'm credited, right? This is real. And what's cool about this is, as you can see, he found it from YouTube, right? This was the original beat here. And yeah, I'm just basically showing you like I've made a good amount doing this, right? I'm showing you the proof. As you can see, if you get attention, money follows. I got a nice amount of money from that Lil TJ placement. But anyway, yeah, the proof is in the pudding. This is possible, right? I did this all throughout high school, and I'm still doing it because it's what I do. I'm full-time with this. But anyway, let's talk about how you can also do the same. So if we look at my channel, I started with Key Glock beats, but I eventually switched to Big Scar beats because I noticed I was able to easily rank in that keyword, right? Which is how I got this beat to hit 1.5 million, and then that kind of started the whole momentum for my takeover in 2023. But I eventually switched to Rack Baby beats, and that's when I started to realize, okay, that we're in a sample era, because every time I dropped a Rack Baby beat, it was getting a lot of views. Now the key is to find a keyword that's like an artist who's up and coming, and ideally for you guys right now in 2025, if they're using samples, or even if they're not using samples, let's just say, let's take even Lil Baby. If you did Lil Baby sample type beat, the odds of you getting a lot of views is way higher than just doing Lil Baby by itself, because we are in a sample era right now. So you should definitely be taking advantage of that and apply that to your strategy. Right now, if in 6 months from now, if you're watching this in 6 months from now, the game might have already changed. So if you're watching this right now, you're lucky. Start using samples. I promise you, it's gonna get you a lot more views than without using samples. So use samples, and you look, if you notice at my pictures, like all my pictures are the same theme for each title, right? Big Scar X Pooh Shiesty X Big 30. All these thumbnails are the same type of picture, right? They all have the same type of theme. And all the Rack Baby pictures, as you can see, it's just a guy smoking. If we look at this picture right here, it's the same thing, right? I follow the same theme for whatever works. And that's really what you need to take into account is like, also, yeah, as you can see, I started doing samples, and every time I dropped on like all these new up and coming artists, I was able to take over on it because I already like I understood that we're in a sample era, right? These keywords are up and coming. If I hop on it now, before the whole bandwagon starts, I'll be able to solidify myself into the algorithm, right? I'll be able to cement myself in. So what you need to be doing is go on Spotify or YouTube and just literally look for up and coming artists, like even in your city, maybe like Von off 1700. That's a Chicago artist. Rack Baby, that's a Chicago artist. I also would recommend just looking at like the underground scene too, right? These were more underground artists, but ended up becoming more mainstream. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't reinvent the wheel. There was a guy named Hoodrich. Shout out to Hoodrich. I've known Hoodrich for a little minute now. He dropped this beat 9 months ago on Von off 1700, and this is how I found out about Von off 1700. So if you can't find up and coming artists, literally just look through YouTube and you might see someone that you don't recognize, and then you'll see, oh, and if it's getting good views like this one did, got 10,000 views in a week, 100,000 views in the first 28 days. I was like, okay, I've never heard of this guy. He must be up and coming. He has a unique sound and his beats are samples, right? So everything just kind of clicked, and I was like, okay, if this guy who has a similar, pretty much the exact same subscriber count as me, he's was able to just all of a sudden do this keyword and start blowing up, that means I probably would be able to too if I make the beats exactly how the sound is, which is exactly what I did. So as you can see, my first Von off 1700 beat got 39,000 views. I didn't reinvent the wheel. I just saw proof of concept, right? I saw, okay, it's working for someone with the same kind of situation as me, same stats as me, same type of channel theme as well. So I was like, okay, that would probably work for me as well, which it did. I dropped another Von off 1700 beat. It got 183,000 views. Then I started doing Rack Baby, right? I saw another up and coming Chicago artist, and guess what? Guess where I found this keyword? Guess what? Is the same dude, same type of time period. So I was like, okay, if it works for him and we have the same channel, like he was doing Von off 1700, I just did the same keyword with my own twist of the beats, right? I just did, my own sound with the same keyword, and it worked for me. So I tried Rack Baby as well. If it's working for him, it might work for me. I do it. First beat gets 207,000 views. Then I'm also doing Von off 1700, 76,000. I drop a second Rack Baby, 33,000. So as you can see, like that, again, 346,000 on Rack Baby, 158,000 on Von off 1700, another 100K on Rack Baby. Like, once you see proof of concept, it becomes very, very easy. So I'll tell you guys, don't reinvent the wheel. Literally, you can look at my channel, for example. You can go to my channel and you can copy me. You can copy what's working for me. I don't care. Copy me all you want. This is the game. You see what works. Maybe if you're doing Memphis beats, for example, you see, oh, I did really good on Big Scar. I might start doing Big Scar, right? Because if it worked for me and we're in the same lane, it might work for you too. It might not either. It might not. Maybe you could start doing Big Scar sample type beats and just completely take over that way, right? Since we're in the sample era. So you need to kind of click things together and apply it into your own lane, and that's how you really start cooking. And guess what? To prove this even further, if you look at this thumbnail and look at the keywords here, it's Big Scar X Pooh Shiesty X Big 30 type beat. This was posted October 24th of 2021. Okay, so I saw this, and that's when I dropped this beat right here. The same keywords with the same thumbnail, and it got even more views than this guy's. Obviously, I didn't steal the beat. I made my own beat, but I just saw proof of concept, right? This worked. And I also saw that when he did other types of thumbnails with these keywords, it didn't work. He also didn't stay very consistent. But I saw that this thumbnail with this set of keywords blew up. So I did it myself. Boom. This was the first beat I ever dropped with these keywords, and it got 600,000 views. Then, as you can see, it's Big Scar X Pooh Shiesty X Big 30. I then applied that to my own thing with guns as the pictures, right? Because Pooh Shiesty, it's gun violence. That's kind of the theme. That's what people like with Pooh Shiesty music, right? It's violent music. So I applied that with the keywords, right? Because no one was doing the set of keywords. Big 30 was a low competition, high search volume keyword. Big Scar was a low competition, high search volume keyword. Pooh Shiesty was more of a competitive keyword, but since I had the other two low competition, high search volume keywords, I was able to combine all of these to make a big banger potential video, and I just milked it, right? I did it over and over and over again, same type of beat. But my point is, I didn't reinvent the wheel. I just saw proof of concept. I saw something worked, and I saw it was an outlier, right? I saw it worked once for them, but it didn't really work again. So I was like, okay, if I just rinse and repeat that same style of video, I should be able to actually take it further than they did, which is exactly what I did. So in this game, you're not reinventing the wheel. You're just seeing proof of concept. You're seeing what works and seeing if it will work for you as well, right? And then you make it even better, right? I started doing the guns instead of just the jewelry, right? I started doing the guns. And I also applied my intro strategy, which was making the intros longer but also hard, right? I added visualizers, as you can see, right? There's a visualizer here. So I took the proof of concept. I saw it worked. I applied it to my niche because my niche was already in Big Scar, and I just made it even better, right? If you want more free game and unreleased videos, join my newsletter. It's completely free. I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you guys. I'm out.